Table here. Today we got to look at the Vladivostok, aka the Vlad. Kadyrov on the screen here. Got Cunningham for this particular game and Hyde. Hyde increases your ship's HP. Cunningham tightens up the groupings by improving the precision. The Vlad has slightly different, or slightly lower accuracy in my opinion than the tier 3 through 6 tech tree ships, which are pretty accurate even with the brawling non-accuracy build with Kadyrov. So experimenting with the build, but all in all I think I'll probably go back and put Nelson on there. Anyway, here we got a game on Atlantic and it's domination mode. Unfortunately, we spawn over here with an Akatsuki and an Algerie. Now the Algerie, he's late for an appointment about 20 kilometers to the northeast, so he's immediately going to take off. Akatsuki, you can see his engine stalled out. We would like him to get on the cap immediately, try and get that flipped and then get the points going, but engine troubles abound. So if I would have spawned behind him, I would have given him a running push start. That helps the turbine spinning. You can see there, finally his crew got those boilers fired up. Anyway, not the best deployment over here. A little bit dicey, as they say in the business. We're going to go down to A, though, and we're going to anchor it. And the Vlad is all about kind of holding down positions, daring anyone to come through there and then destroying them if they so dare. Now, like all Russian battleships, you get shot inside, you immediately blow up. I actually got shot by the CNOP the other day in this thing where, you know, I was in a position, he kind of snuck up on me, got access to the broadside. I had about 2/3 of my ship's health, which is a fair amount of health, and in one salvo, kaboom. So, if you're getting shot in the nose or in the rear, you know, well angled, as we'll see in this game, we absorb a lot of damage. I've probably got more dreadnoughts in this game than I've gotten high calibers, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's kind of the goal for the ship, to absorb damage. What you want to do is imagine your team's HP is a big pie. Alright, now if you got ships on the enemy team shooting your teammates, and they're destroyers, cruisers, poorly angled battleships, and they're absorbing, you know, 20, 30, 40k salvos per strike, that team HP pie goes down quite a bit. Whereas if they're shooting me, and salvo after salvo, they're getting 0 damage, 500 damage, 2,000 damage, whatever it is, that pie, the HP of the team, is maintained quite well. Lando gets a little too close for comfort, for his comfort that is, and we quickly alter his thinking on what the best course of action is. He's going to turn away. But anyway, tanking is very, very valuable for your team, and if your battleship can do it, you need to be doing it. And this is why those battleships that are parked on the moon, looking through the Hubble telescope, launching long-range salvos at the maximum possible range, ineffective. Not only is their accuracy poor, and they're not going to be hitting a lot of shots, doing a lot of damage themselves, but the team is no longer probably going to be shooting at them. They're going to be shooting at closer targets, which happen to be cruisers, destroyers. Those ships are getting blown up. The team HP pie getting whittled down. No, you want to be, if your battleship can tank, and a lot of them can, you want to kind of present yourself to be attractive enough to shoot at, but protect yourself by your armor angling. So that's a key component of battleship play, but this one is extremely effective at it. You can see we've taken a lot of salvos coming in. We're only down 5k damage, you know, not an issue whatsoever. Finally, the Akatsuki gets over here. I guess he had some errands to run, but finally he decided to come to the cap that he spawned by, which is nice, and we'll finally put these points in our team's pocket. Domination mode, there's no fooling around. You got to get the caps. You might kill all the ships, you might not, but a lot of times the games are won on points, so don't be fooling around. Don't be running errands or doing whatever you're going to be doing. There, we saw turret damage, and the turret damage, like the John Bart, is kind of one of the weaknesses of the ship. You're going to constantly see me aiming, not at the ships though, when I'm on the reload cycle. Watch that throughout this game. I'm pretty sure I do it pretty much until the end of the game. We're going to take shots, and then we're going to kind of angle the turrets for about, 30 degrees or whatever at the target, or away from the target. Absorb those shots, and then And once we're reloaded, we get the guns back in position, fire, and then we pull them off again. What we're doing, the turrets of the Vlad are flat in the front, so they're very easy to penetrate in terms of the surfaces, and that's why these guns are readily damaged. There's other ships, I'm not going to name them at the moment, but there's other ships with similar problems, I guess, and the solution is the same. If you're not presenting those flat fronts to the turrets, they become much more durable. So that's kind of a high-level strat. I don't see a whole lot of players doing it out there. If you're on my team, feel free to use that move. If you're on the red team, just forget all about it. But that is kind of the main way to counteract the incoming turret damage for a lot of these ships. Anyway, armor angling here. We got King George. He was attempting to push to the right. Now, if they're all grouped together, we talk about this constantly. We had the King George, we had the Vlad, which is kind of the main threat, and then I think the Colorado. They're all going to be kind of bunched together, and that's very, very easy to armor angle. Battleships, you want to space out. You don't want to be right next to your other battleships, because if they're all three where they are basically right now, I can just point where I am. None of them can damage me. But this Colorado recognizes that. He's going to start pushing to the right. And the further he gets to the right, the more danger we're in, as we'll see. So I'm pushing forward a little bit here, but maybe I'm recognizing that he's moving. Now I'm stopping or attempting to stop. Not always the easiest thing to do in these battleships, but that's kind of the key here. As we talked about, if you get shot in the side here, in the Vlad or any Russian battleship, kaboom, you're dead. But we call that the black hole strategy here in this channel, where all the ships are sucked into a singular point in time and space. Very poor tactic, very common tactic, especially the higher up you get. I mean, it seems to be that the higher tiers seem to be less strategic a lot of times. Anyway, now that he's pushing to the right, we're going to be attempting to back up, maintaining the pointing at the Vlad because that's the most dangerous threat. But the Colorado is an extremely dangerous threat too in terms of gun caliber, damage output. We're able to knock out some guns here and there, which is going to help. But we need to be backing up here, making sure that none of them have access to the ship. But the Colorado goes forward faster than we back up, so maybe a little bit too aggressive pushing forward just a smidge earlier. And it's going to end up costing us. You're going to see here, well, most of these shots we're going to be bouncing, but the further advanced he gets on our sides, the more axis, the flatter the angle, the more dangerous it becomes. So we're trying to deal with him as quickly as possible, knowing that he's presenting more and more danger to damage us. You can see there we got another bounce, but as the next reload comes through, I think he does access that citadel. Yep, and there's a dinger, and that's what we want to be avoiding with this. So for battleships in general, most of them want to advance as close as they possibly can. The threats that are preventing them from advancing, DDs and putting themselves into crossfires, getting shot in the side. So both of those threats can really be mitigated by your own positioning and understanding, looking at the map, finding the DDs, finding the red players, and seeing how close can I possibly get. Your guns are more accurate the closer you can get, of course, but we don't want to be creating too many problems for ourselves by over positioning. Now here the Vlad's kind of committing to fighting us, and we're going to be both trying to shoot each other's guns, but you can see again I'm turning my turrets every salvo, making sure he doesn't have the flat fronts of those turrets to shoot at, whereas he's going to be pointing them at me, and we'll be able to take his turrets out. Now if the Vlad had continued to stay put and not push, we'd keep shooting at this King George, because again he's moving forward. He is actually shooting a fair amount of AP, so the further he gets forward, again he'll be like the Colorado. But the Vlad, because he is being aggressive, he is trying to kind of make a play to save the game, so we're going to have to switch our attention to him. Now like us, he's angling well this game, and he's, when you're angled, you typically only have the front turrets to fire, which in this case is 2/3 of our turrets on the Vlad, and we're going to just keep shooting at them. Again, we're turning. You can see there we can even turn a little bit more, but the point is every time we're reloading, we're not pointing directly at the ship. He doesn't really employ that tactic. Keeps the guns forward, take the salvo. Now we knock him out. Now we have a light window where we're really low on health. He's really high on health, and at this point in the game, This isn't a strategic play. It's a trade I want to take. I want to go for the ram. King George is going to be sending in salvos, desperately trying to stop me from doing this as he recognizes the play. Vlad's trying to dodge, but it's too late. He got a little too close, and because his guns were disabled, we were able to get in there before those ships were able to kill us. And that puts us at quite a bit of damage for the ship. But the main goal of the ship was kind of holding down that flank. We had the numerical advantages in the north, the northeast. We were outnumbered down in the southwest, and especially due to our ships that were down there getting themselves killed. So our goal this game was to kind of hold down the fort, slow them down as much as possible, allow our team in the north to finally win, and that's how we won the game. Yeah, we got a fair amount of damage too, but again, we're mostly focused on tanking and, slowing down what the enemy's trying to do with the ship, and the Vlad's quite good at that. You could consider running Galler on the ship. You can consider running them on the whole line, but when we're losing a couple heals, we're losing a couple damage cons, that ability to tank kind of goes down. So even though these guns are a little more wonky than the tier 3 through 6 in my experience, still effective enough that we were able to get the job done. So anyway, that's a look at the Vlad, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. A lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. I do love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.